This is an announcement. We are sorry to report the delay of LLF, which was expected to arrive in July. It is now being delayed until November. We are sorry for any inconvenience caused and thank you for your patience. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Rev Dan. I'm a vicar in the Church of England, and the Church of England has just released a press release about living in love and faith. Living in love and faith essentially is about prayers of blessings for same-sex couples in churches. This was passed in the General Synod in February after quite a lengthy debate going over 2 days, and we were expecting this to be implemented in July, but now in this press release it seems that it might be implemented in November. It's a bit confusing, this. We're not quite sure what's going on, but we're going to look into it. So the Church Times has picked up on this press release as they would. So let's have a look and see what is being said. So their title is Same-Sex Provision Unlikely to be Finalised in July, Synod Planners Accept. So there's a big question straight away on this. This we knew was coming. The bishops released draft prayers and setting out what would happen at the February synod with their motion. It was passed at February, and we were told that it would come back to July synod, that there wasn't going to be a November synod planned unless it was really needed. So everybody in the church, both sides of the story here, were expecting it to come in July. Big question is, what's happened? Will there be a further explanation to help us understand why it's not coming to July? We know that there's been a unexpected pushback that the bishops weren't expecting by those who are orthodox on this, and action taken by some individuals, by some churches already. We know 10 ministers in London that form their own chapter outside the structures of the Church of England. I know people who have left the Church of England already. Now, in my diocese, they're saying, do not take any action, just wait for this to come out to understand what the final result would be. And I understand that bit. We all know the trajectory of this. This being pushed back to November really changes a lot. People have left, and why is it being pushed back? Where was the planning, I suppose, is the question. It'd be nice to get some explanations of those who are involved in this and this planning of why it now has been taken to November. Even, you have to be fair, even on the other side, that there's probably people who will do the blessings, and they've probably been speaking to couples about, yes, we can do this summer. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for anyone. Again, they haven't got this right, and both sides will not be happy because we want to know what's happening. I know there's a lot of logistical things, but if you're bringing something like this forward and saying it's July, then it should be July. I know that there's other stuff going on, and I also appreciate that they are considering those voices as well. But a fuller explanation, I think, would help, really help in this situation. So the article goes on to tell us, drafted prayers and blessings for same-sex couples in church and guidance on their use are unlikely to be finalised at the forthcoming meeting to the General Synod in York, the newly published timetable suggests. And so the published timetable, and it'll come up in the second in this article, is just to do it on the Saturday afternoon between 2:15 and 7 p.m. And it also has another item on that agenda. So they're going to be speaking, and I don't know how long this takes. I'm not on General Synod, so I don't know really what this is. And if it takes a short time, it could take 5 minutes. It could take half an hour. It could take till 3 o'clock, leaving just 4 hours to speak about LLF. Could take longer, could take shorter, we don't know. So that's a special agenda item on the contribution of faith to prisoner rehabilitation. So that could take a form of debate. could take a while. So the time for Living in Love and Faith is really short. So what is coming to the General Synod in July? Well, let's have a look at the article. It gets a bit more into it. The Synod will meet at York University from Friday 7th of July to Tuesday 11th of July. Just one session over these 5 days on Saturday afternoon has been set aside to discuss the proposals first set out by the bishops in January, concluding years of discernment through the Living in Love and Faith process. A press release from the Church House on Wednesday said that the July meeting will include a substantial item on the proposals. This may run for several hours. However, it is also confirmed that a further group of sessions is to be held in November in London to provide an opportunity for Synod to consider any aspects of that work not completed in July. So we know that there's 3 parts of this. There's the prayers of love and faith. Draft prayers were put out and they're available to see. You should go and see those draft prayers and come to your own conclusions, because it's not just about the blessings here. Those draft prayers make it very much, you read through it, it's very much like a ceremony, a full-on ceremony. And there's questions of what would the couples wear. Is it permitted that if there was 2 lesbians, that they would both wear bridal gowns? So suggest go off and read those. So there's the draft prayers, which they're going to revise, but there's also the Pastoral Guidance, which is going to be rewritten from scratch, and maybe that's where the delay is. And there's also pastoral reassurance and how to provide reassurance for those who, by their conscience, I like how they say by the conscience, it's actually by the scriptures that we uphold. Pastoral reassurance and how that will be included as well. So that needs to be written. So really, in effect, only one thing out of 3 is written. So they go on to say, since the proposals were approved by the Synod in London in February, implementation groups have been established to refine the set of draft prayers, known as Prayers of Love and Faith, work on the new pastoral guidance and on their use, as well as pastoral, I like how they put reassurance, for clergy and laity who do not wish to offer these provisions. Just pausing there because I'm reading clergy and laity. It's very much on the incumbent whether they will offer these in each of their parishes. But maybe it's the laity in the sense that if there's someone who is a verger in the church or something who won't do it by their conscience, they're going to include that, which actually is a good thing. So it goes on to say, in a joint statement, the Bishop of London, the Right Reverend Sarah Milani, and the Bishop of Truro, the Right Reverend Philip Mount Stephen, who co-chair the steering group overseeing the implementation groups, said that these were working at pace and making good progress, but seems not good enough. But you swing between both. You want to get this done, but also you want it done right, and you don't want something half-baked coming. And it is a frustration that it does go to November, but hopefully in November it'll be something that is good. By the way, they say, some people are saying that this might not happen, it might not go through. This is telling us that it will go through. They're making sure it's right, and they want to get it right. It's not going to be withdrawn at any time. This will go through, and it will go through in November. It goes on to say, we hope that the work to refine the texts of prayers of love and faith, together with aspects of the work of the Pastoral Guidance and the Pastoral Reassurance groups, will be in place before the meeting of Synod in York in July. Now, I hope that they're in place, but what we really have to hope for is that they're done and sent out to all the General Synod members so that they can read them, digest them, go through them, and really understand them before they can come to that Saturday afternoon and debate them. If they're rushed through and given late, it's not going to help anybody's cause on either side. Again, this needs to be done well and done right, and I kind of understand why there's a lot of confusion around this now. We will be bringing a report to Synod updating in more detail on the progress that has been made, recognising the complexity of the matters being considered. We anticipate that time could be made available in November meeting of Synod for any work required. So this bit confused me. We anticipate that time could be made. It's already been decided. So this is the title from the press release from the Church of England website. The Archbishops of Canterbury and York, and as presidents of the General Synod of the Chair of England, have agreed to proceed with the November meeting of Synod this year. So it says the group of sessions will be held in London from Monday the 13th to Wednesday the 15th of November, as the Synod Business Committee has confirmed. So it's been confirmed not only by the Archbishops of Canterbury and York, but by the Synod Business Committee. So it's a bit confusing in this press release when they said we anticipate that time could be made available, because it seems like it has been made available. So it is going to go further down the line. Some people are saying it's been kicked into the long grass. Kicking something into the long grass is not a good thing. I'm not sure. I don't think it is that way. I think the pushback has been greater than the bishops anticipated. That's a lot that I've been hearing, and maybe they just want to get this absolutely right. So hopefully in this fuller explanation, we have to wait till the General Synod for the fuller explanation, but maybe they need to tell Synod before they tell us, and they're just telling us a bit. There'll be the fuller explanation of why this has been delayed. It is being delayed. The implementation groups have only just been set up in the past few weeks, and even though they're moving along at good pace, you are getting people from different geographical locations. I don't know if they're meeting, I don't know if they're doing it over Zoom, but also you get different people from different theological stances on this, and so they have to work their way through that, as what will come will be the final thing that the church will be using. And obviously those with an orthodox view want to limit that, that we're not moving away from doctrine, and the revisionists will want to go as far as they can, because they will see this as the stepping stone to something further, that this is the first thing, and this will move forward until the church has fully accepted same-sex marriage further down the line. So what do you think? Is this good news or bad news? This isn't going to come in July. I cannot see if they're going to put November on and have such a short session. What's going to happen? We don't know what's going to happen in the July, if there's just going to be a presentation, if there's opportunity for debate, if there's opportunity for looking at the documents and further putting feedback in. But it's going to go to November now, and things will come out in November where they'll discuss, as they say, things that couldn't be discussed in July. Thoughts? Good thing? Bad thing? Thoughts? Do you think it's going to go through, or you think it's going to be pulled back? Or are they just kicking it along grass? Or are they just making sure that all the I's and dotted and the T's are crossed, and they want to get it right? Because so far, since January and February and after, it feels that it hasn't been done right, because when you get both sides of the argument not happy, that kind of says it's not being done right. So they're just making sure that they're going to try, and remember they're trying to do this as well, is to bring the church closer together. When, and that's the other thing as well, the Anglican Communion has been split, and the Archbishop has been removed as first among equals in many provinces. It's a big thing. We still don't know, we're still not quite sure, but put your thoughts in the comments.